Hello, everyone.
It's the Tiff and Jack Show, a podcast devoted to helping you dump the overwhelm and live the effing happy. This is episode number 8, from surviving to thriving.
Oh, right. Oh, survival to thrival.
And I'm sure that is a word, thrival. Look it up.
It is. It is for us.
Yeah, you just coined it. It is now our word. It's our word. Wow, it has been quite a week, hasn't it? Here we are.
Oh my God. Every week
is quite a week.
Every week is quite a week.
From all the supernatural, woo-woo, wild stuff to coaching amazing clients. We're constantly astounded by the brilliance of every one of you that are our clients.
Oh my gosh.
And also you that are yet to be our clients, because I know you're also out there.
I don't think there's been one client that we've had in the last
that we aren't
decade
in love with,
that we just love.
That we don't just totally madly love.
It's true.
And Tiff you've done a ton of past life regression sessions, readings.
Yes.
Healings. That brings me to our
to
Tiff's energy clearing healing done remotely, which is phenomenal. She uses Facebook Messenger, so you have all of her recordings, all of the words she says, everything she's seeing and talking to you about, and the energy that she's clearing to fluff up your energy, clear it out, assist you to be able to feel better, easier, to have more peace and calm, clarity of mind. That is our April 2017 special for $157, normally $200. If you want in on this, make sure and get in quick. There are very limited spots available, but that is our April special. So the link will be in our show notes. If you don't know how to find our show notes, it's very simple. Look at your podcast you're looking at right now. You'll see a little introductory paragraph, and underneath it says more. You touch more and it will bring it down. Sometimes it'll say see full description. Click that at the bottom. Boom, there are the links. All you have to do is touch it and it will take you right to the page you need so that you can schedule.
So I just had a thought. I'm just going to share.
I love it when you think. You know that turns me on.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not
That
kidding.
Is true.
I love it.
Every time I get in a powerful thought place,
I'm like,
Jack's
wow.
like, let's make out.
True. I love it.
Okay. So here is something that you may not be aware of. As a healer, most people think they have to come into the office and stand there in front of me while I do my work, which is fantastic. However, I don't have to do it that way. And this is what is so great, because I can work on people all over the world. So I can do healings remotely. So remotely means, because everything is energy, I know how to use my energy to heal other people's energy from a distance. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. I can do a healing on you, and it works great. Many people do not know that is a possible thing, and it is very possible, and it works just as good as being in person. So there's some information for you that you may not have been aware of.
Yeah, we have some great testimonials that you can read so you can see for yourself other people's experience, or maybe you've already had one of these magnificent healing sessions with Tiff and you want another one. Sometimes it's good to have a little fluff up every now and then.
Right?
Yeah. So we're going to be covering later after we get through our little chit chat, because we have some awesome things to chit chat about. We will be talking about 5 ways that will assist you to move from surviving to thriving. You may not even be realizing that you're in survival mode, but we'll be talking more about that so you can identify where you're at in your life and what it is you want for yourself. Right. And we just want you to thrive, because thriving's so awesome.
Thriving is the best.
It is. We want you to want.
Yeah, so if you don't want to thrive, get it together.
Because it's all about doing what we want for you. Oh, boy. So let's talk a little bit about what's coming up here in just a couple days. Mercury.
No, it's tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow.
And we are in Venus retrograde and Saturn retrograde. Now, Venus ends on the 15th, I believe. And Saturn goes for a while, and so does Mercury. And what you may notice is that you might be a little more emotional than usual.
A little more cranky, a little more quick to anger, rolling your eyes more.
Yes, and you could also have some communication issues with people at work.
Oh, yeah.
You can have some computer issues, things like that. And the only reason is the cosmic energy has shifted up a bit, and it just causes an energetic, electromagnetic pulses to come down and kind of mess with people and things. So that's pretty normal. But the best part about it is you'll have old yucky stuff from the past start to come up.
Start to show up.
And clear them.
It gives you an opportunity to do some fantastic clearing work. In fact, it would probably be one of the best times you could ever jump into coaching with us.
That's
not
true.
that was a segue, but truly retrograde, PMS, things like that, bring the covered up unconscious shit, for lack of a better word, the stuff that makes us feel really shitty about ourselves. It brings it to the surface so we can see it and clear it. And that's our specialty, is helping you clear it out so you can be done with it and move forward in creating a thriving life.
Yes. Oh, the sun is not out today.
No, it's a little windy and cold, gusting. We have a snowflake in the forecast.
Do we really?
We really do. Sunday,
Oh my
but
gosh.
I'm setting my intention that it's sunny and warm. And I get everything I want.
That is very
Period.
true.
That's
My
just
goodness,
the way it is.
That's how it goes. It does. So we're sitting here at our table. Oh, I just have to share something so funny.
Is it about our son?
Yes. So he just came home, had his lunch, and he's back to school. He's in college. And he said, oh, I turned on, I got this little amazing speaker.
You got it. I got it. This is one of Tiff's quirks. She thinks that everything I buy is hers.
Okay, this is how it works.
This is how it works.
This is how it works. Everything that's mine is mine, and everything that Jack's is mine.
Nope. She's been carrying this little amazing little speaker all around the house with her all morning. Yes. Like she owns it.
Well, and I even took it in when I took my shower.
I know.
And if I asked you, can I please have this? Would you give it to me? See?
Absolutely.
So what is mine, and what is Jack's is mine.
You know, maybe we should even throw a link to this awesome, it's like a $27 Bluetooth speaker, and the sound is effing amazing. And I read all the reviews. I just want something inexpensive that we can just throw in a bag anywhere we go, and voila, it is amazing. So I don't even know what it's called, but we'll put it in the links.
Yeah, you need to get it. It's the sound quality for as small as it is
quite
holy
phenomenal.
Cow.
You'll love
so
it.
Awesome. So anyway, I'm listening to our last podcast just for a minute to check the sound quality. And Anders, our son, is sitting in the great room behind me as I'm listening, and I'm putting on my makeup, which is my little ritual. Jack says something and I start to laugh because I just thought it was so funny. And Anders says, you guys are such dorks. And that made me laugh even harder because we know we are truly successful in whatever we do if our kids think we're dorks.
That's our purpose in life.
It was funny. And I said, you may think we're dorks, but we're pretty awesome. And he said, whatever. It's just funny.
It is. It's fun.
It's pretty funny.
It's fun to drive your kids nuts.
Yeah. And he was sitting in here. I'm like, are you going to sit in, or Jack said, are you going to sit in here? Can you be quiet while we do our podcast? And he got up and left and went back to school.
Yeah, class. We love our kids. It's always fun to interact with your kids when they're adults and growing up. What a great thing. It's really fun. So this morning when I was at my side hustle, FedEx for benefits, I had a little conversation with a good friend at work, and we were talking about kids, and he was sharing some things, and two things came up in the conversation that I knew I should share with you, because when I shared it with him, he was so happy to have these weapons in his arsenal of being a parent. So if you're a parent, or even just interpersonal relationship stuff, the first thing was his kids are complaining about things not being fair. Right? And Tiff came up with the best comeback that life is, what is it? It's fair, but not equal. Right?
Did I say that?
You did years ago, that everything won't look equal, but it is fair. The universe has all of our backs, right?
Yes.
We're all responsible in creating our lives. It's definitely fair, but it won't look equal.
That's true. Mm-hmm. I was so smart.
Right? It's
wow.
And the other thing that
how did you remember that?
It was part of our
conversation. And so how did he respond?
He loved it.
He's like,
I'm using that.
That's true.
That is fantastic.
Now, did you tell him that your wife said that?
Yes, I did. Absolutely.
Thank you for the
credit.
kudo.
I give credit where credit is due. And the other credit I'm giving Tiff is when your kids or someone comes to you wanting you to fix their problem.
Oh yeah.
You say to them in a very loving, serious way, what are you going to do about that?
That's true.
And you pause and you do not fix it for them. You allow them to entertain their inner genius to come up with a solution. It's not your job. You're not responsible. Sure, if they're 3, but we're talking if they're a young
teenagers
adult or a teenager
adults.
or
And
later adolescent.
It's very true because raising responsible adults, you really want them to be able to think for themselves. And we are so apt to jump in and try and fix it because we don't want them to have discomfort because we don't like discomfort. So of course we love our children and we want to save them from that discomfort, but that is really not serving them. When you save your children from discomfort, what happens when you can no longer do that? Then they're extremely uncomfortable and don't really know what to do. So when they're saying, oh my gosh, this is happening, you can really say, oh my gosh, that would be so hard. Really relate, because I'm sure you'll understand where they're coming from because you've been in the same spot or something similar in your life. And then just say what Jack said.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about that?
What are you going to do? Well, what are you going to do about that?
And pause and wait.
And wait for them to answer
and support them.
Yeah.
It's a very empowered way to approach life. And your kids or anyone, honestly, if you've had a habit of helping them or being responsible to fix someone else's woes, this is your opportunity to be done.
Right.
All right.
Cool.
Shall we move right into...
Well, let's...
Oh,
there's a question that came through.
Oh, there is.
And this has been a question that has come through not just from the one person we just barely got it from, but I've heard this many, many times, is that what if, especially if you're big into setting intentions and manifesting, people can get really nervous about thinking thoughts that are not thriving thoughts or in alignment thoughts or positive thoughts. And then people get very stressed. Oh, I had a bad day and I just couldn't pull myself out of it. And I have these terrible thoughts and I'm going to create what I don't want. And I have some really great news for you. For those of you that are stressing about not thinking perfectly all the time, there's 2 things that you need to remember. When you are thinking thoughts that are not as positive as you would like, always remember that there is a time lapse, kind of like a time for you to change your mind. The universe gives you time to change your mind. That's why we don't manifest instantly. We do manifest faster and faster the more that we work with it. But you always have that time and space to change your mind.
And positive thoughts are 1,000,000 times more powerful
than
the fearful ones.
Yes, the electromagnetics of a positive thought is much bigger in its attracting power than the negative ones. Okay, so those are 2 things that can put your mind at ease because we all are like, oh my gosh, if I'm thinking this thought, am I going to create this thing? And what we're here to tell you is you have time to figure things out, time to change your mind and realize that positive thoughts are much more powerful than negative thoughts. And that is how it works. Isn't that a relief?
It is such a relief.
Gosh.
Such a relief. There's no need to fret and stew. It's okay. If you're having a bad day, it'll pass. You're going to feel better soon. Set your intention, let the universe assist you, and don't worry. Your positive thoughts are so much more powerful.
And you know where I actually got that information? I've known this, but I heard it again on The Secret because we just watched The Secret.
Watch it again if you haven't.
It's great.
It really is.
It's the 3rd time I've watched it over the last 10 years. And I have to say, actually, I think they did it in 2006. So I watched it that year and I've watched it. This was my 3rd time. And each time, because I'm evolving as a person and really I am really living and understanding the principles of the law of attraction. It is so awesome. You've got to watch it again. It's extremely powerful. Loved
really
it.
Great.
Loved it.
Really great.
Love it more now than I did then.
I know. It's so amazing that here we are recording our 8th episode. You know, there is a statistic out there saying that people that start podcasts typically don't make it past their 7th episode. Well, today is number 8.
So I guess they didn't know Tiff and Jack.
That's right.
Did
We're
they?
unstoppable.
That is so true.
We are unstoppable.
So statistics out the window.
We do not have a belief in statistics anyway. We're creating our own life.
That's true.
And it's a lot more fun that way when you're creating your own life.
Yes.
We did. One of the funny things we talked about this week was our quirkiness. We did a Facebook Live video on it. if you ever want to catch all of our Facebook Live videos in one place, I upload every single one of those beasts into our YouTube channel. And guess what our YouTube channel is called? The Tiff and Jack. Not the Tiff and Jack show, Tiff and Jack.
Tiff and Jack.
Yeah. So you can see all of our but we were talking about quirks.
We had a client come in that is in a new relationship, and she just said she loves her guy's quirkiness. And I thought about that. We just went to lunch after that session, Jack and I said, do I have quirks? Like these quirky things that I do? And he's like, yes. You do. And I said, what are they? So we discussed each other's quirkiness with each other. It was pretty funny. And then we did a Facebook Live on it, and we were laughing quite a bit.
One of Tiff's biggest, we'll talk about one of your main quirks, I would say, is eye rolling.
Oh my God.
She's doing it right now.
Oh my God. I cannot help it.
She is an eye roller. And sometimes she gets a lip curl with the eye roll, and you know you're in trouble. If you get the double duty, it is serious business, and you better be hightailing it out of there.
I totally cannot stop from rolling my eyes. I was in trouble genetic. Every day of my life in school. My mom would get so mad at me because she would say something that I didn't like, and I would roll my eyes, not even aware. And I still do it today. Yeah. Thank God Jack understands me, because he's like, did you just roll your eyes? I'm like, I did not roll my eyes. Yes, you did. And the lip curl, my mother used to talk about that as well. The lip curl. And apparently I also gave the pig eye.
The pig eye.
That's what my mother called it, which is the look of death, the hateful stare. I'm a very expressive human being, and there is no way around it. I try not to roll my eyes. I don't even know what I'm doing. So if you ever see me rolling my eyes, just
don't take
let
it
go. God.
It's one of those patterns that is just not going to change.
Oh, you just asked Anders before he left for school one of your quirks. What did he say?
That I say the F word in the most inopportune times. And I honestly believe that every time I say it, it's very appropriate.
Well, our younger kids are going to think that we do all the things that we do are ridiculous. So I would say that he's
just chalk that one up.
Yeah,
doing a good
job.
job.
And the reason that we love our podcast so much is we can do an explicit rating, because Jack really is passionate about the F word.
It's because it is a really expressive word, and people that love the word realize there are so many uses of that word.
Oh my gosh.
And when you find a word that you can use in so many different contexts, it gives you such freedom, such movement. It's fucking fantastic. It's amazing.
Oh, brother.
It's just
now I'm lightheaded from all the laughing.
Just center ground. Feel the weight of the earth beneath you, supporting you, loving you, assisting you. Before we jump into, which we are just moments away, stick with us. When you ask questions, we love your questions.
We do.
Please send them in. And you can just shoot us an email, info at tiffandjack.com. That's AND, not an ampersand, between tiffandjack.com. Shoot us an email. And if you reach out on Facebook, if you're friends with us on Facebook, and let us know your questions, and we will address them. Your questions are incredibly important. And when you ask them and we answer them, thousands of people are being assisted.
It's true.
It is such a fantastic thing. So keep reaching out. Again, I'll put a little ask a question link in our show notes. I'm going to start doing that in all the show notes. And you're also welcome to join our email weekly update. We send out a weekly update that has the latest episode. It comes out on Thursdays by 5 p.m. And we have lots of goodies. Our latest Facebook Live videos, it's packed with all the latest and greatest. So that's we just have so many awesome things that we're giving away. And thank you for being here, listening to us share our life and our message. We are serious about helping you dump the overwhelm, because we know life gets overwhelming. We know that it does. And that leads to a life of surviving. And we're in survival mode, and survival mode is coming from a place of feeling like we can't have anything different. I know that my survival mode and Tiff's survival mode looked differently, but they both were survival mode.
Yes. As Jack and I stand on stages to share a message, as we work with clients, share coffee with friends, connect with people on
Everywhere we
Facebook,
do,
everywhere we
everything.
go.
Yeah.
We're seeing that all people are looking for the same thing. And it is that desire to thrive in all areas
Everyone
of life.
wants to.
So here's the first question. Are we all ready?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm ready.
Are you thriving in life or are you surviving? Are you thriving or surviving?
And what would a thriving life look like?
Right.
Think about that. If money, time, and energy weren't an object, what would a thriving life look like? What would your life look like if you were thriving?
And what about survival? How would you
Let's talk
describe
about
survival?
That. Oh boy, this is important because I want you to understand your survival will look different than mine or Tiff's. Survival for me, when I was living a life of epic survival, I felt like I was running a fucking
race.
marathon that never ended.
Right.
And I just always felt like if I can just get to the finish line, if I can just finish this, get this project done, do this. The problem was I'd get one done and there was another one. I never had closure, never felt like I got anything done. I was running from morning till night. I'd wake up at 4:30 in the morning, go work out for an hour or two, come home, homeschool my kids if that's what I was doing at the time, take care of all the house and home, do all of the books for the business that my ex-husband and I were. And life was a wild shit show most of the time. And I felt super proud that life was so hard and busy.
Oh my gosh.
And that was what survival for me. I was in total epic survival mode.
So if you answer that you feel like you're just barely holding on by a thread, then you know that you are looking for something different called thriving. And if you want thriving, something is going to have to happen. What do you think that is? Oh, we can't hear you. The thing that must happen is change. Something has to change in different areas of your life for you to have something different. Okay? So before we go really deep into this, there's something that I need to share with you. And change is one of those words that the entire world is afraid of. And let me tell you why. Now, some of you out there might be like, I love change. And you might like short bursts of change, but how about life change? I can guarantee you that you will feel somewhat uncomfortable having an entire life change. And change is what has to happen in order for you to go from something to something else. So it's like, oh, if I don't want to thrive or survive anymore, I want to thrive, then you're going to have some fundamental changes. And the reason that it can be so scary to change, and I'm going to describe this from a scientific point of view about your mind, because you have your conscious part of your mind and the unconscious part of your brain. Your unconscious part of your brain is the part of the brain that stores your entire belief system. And in there, the default setting, just the natural way to be, is to keep everything the same.
Yes.
Why? Because sameness equals familiarity, and familiarity equals comfort. So as human beings, we naturally want things to be familiar. If things stay the same, we know what we can count on, we feel safe, and therefore we feel comfy if we're living in the discomfort of even survival mode, because it's familiar.
Yeah, familiar. People will choose familiar over different.
Oh,
even if different is a million times better.
Even if you're in an abusive relationship, it's very familiar.
You
know what to count on. And sometimes people will choose to stay in an abusive relationship.
Because of the fear of the unknown.
Yes.
Feels way too big.
Yes.
And we want to assure you that you get to create the unknown. So it's going to be okay.
Yes. And so here you are as a person thriving in the familiar until you get sick and tired of the disappointment of living life void of joy. And everybody gets there at some time. And that's probably when most people are like, oh, that you're having a midlife crisis because you try and make all these changes. And that's because you're tired of the way that things are. They continually go the same over and over and over. And it's like, God, I need some change. And that's when we begin to welcome change into our life.
And some of the bigger changes would be major relationship status change. Those are the big relationship, maybe a restructuring of your religious preference or lack of preference or beliefs that you were raised with, and then you begin seeing life from a different perspective. Those are radically
or choosing another career that feels that makes you feel happier.
Leaving the career you're in that you are so sick and tired of, and doing something that your heart has been calling to your whole life, but you have believed that it's not possible, or you won't be able to make the money you need, or this or that. We want you to challenge all of those limiters that tell you you can't thrive doing what you love.
So here's some things that I'd like to share. I spent years and years just trying to get by. I often thought if I can get through today,
this is so important to share.
Today, then maybe tomorrow I'll be better.
Because you're waiting for God to make it all better for you.
Yes. And I had this idea that God would choose for me, and that didn't work out very well. And I spent, I can't even tell you how long, doing things because I thought if I do the right things, then God will tell me what to do. God's will be done. That was my mantra of life. God's will be done. So I was waiting for him to tell me what his will was, and then I would just do it. And I also had a very strong belief that I would have, things would come up for me. And if they were painful, that was God's way of, saying, this is what I want you to go through to refine you. And if you prove yourself well, then you'll have the blessings that you need. And what I was finding is I wasn't getting the so-called blessings that I needed, or the things that I wanted ever. I lived in poverty. I was sick. I was terribly obese. I was just having a really rough time, and I couldn't figure it out because I was doing all the things that I felt like I needed to do that would
make you be blessed.
Yes.
Or that you'd be blessed.
What the universe was really saying is, Tiffany, it's time for you to do something different.
Make a choice.
Make a choice. So as I think about it, I was just chuckling because I felt like I was on the sea being tossed around by the whim of God. And I understand now that God was just saying, it's time for you to make some decisions. And I use God interchangeably with the universe. I talk about the universe more now publicly than God because people understand that better. But I do know that the universe was just saying, okay, you need to choose for yourself what you desire and make the decision of how you want things to be, and then let go and leave it to me. I'm going to say that one more time. Choose for yourself what you desire. Make the decision of how you want things to be, and let go and leave it to me. That is when my entire life started to change, because then I was like, oh, I have to make a decision. If I have to make a decision, okay, why don't I want to make decisions? Why don't people want to make decisions?
The biggest fear is that you won't get what you want. You're afraid to make a decision. I understand this. And I think my brain, being the personality type I am, which is type 4, which is Earth, which is another entire podcast that we should have at some point.
Well, we need to tell about where that comes from.
Carol Tuttle.
Yeah.
And her work on personality, the 4 personality types.
Yeah, she's so
phenomenal
amazing.
Stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, of course we'll put it in the links. So just check the links. It'll be there. But my brain really wants perfection and to make things, everything just so finite and complete and done.
Efficient.
And perfect.
Yes.
And so choosing what I want can be a struggle because I'm not, what if it's not perfect? What if it's not the perfect thing for me to want? Those are the things that will get us stuck. Just make a choice and move forward.
Right.
And it will unfold more and more and more as you make your decision and your choice to have what you want.
Yes. So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
We are, but we always do.
Yeah. I mean, let's move in. Let's move into the 5 steps and really go into detail about those 5 powerful things to remember when you're ready to thrive. Okay.
Number 1.
What you want wants you. Now, our last podcast was all about this.
Catch it. If you haven't listened to episode number 7, What You Want Wants You, do it as soon as you're done with this one, or jump over now and learn all about wanting things and that it wants you.
So I had a really interesting conversation with someone a while ago, and they have such different wants than what I wanted. And there's a reason that you have those wants, is because that want is calling through you. So whatever you truly want and you have that crave and that ache for, that's because it's moving through you to have that experience. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because we just spent an hour on it last week. But really pay attention to what you want, because it's calling you. It's saying, hey, come here. I have something to introduce you to that's going to feel really amazing. Let's do it. Number 2, where there is a desire, there is a supply. Many, many people believe that when you get something, you're taking something from someone else. And this is not true. I cannot stress this enough. If you do have this belief, please let it go because it is not accurate. There is enough abundance for every single human being on this earth and then some. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
No, just allow yourself to, the fastest and best way for you to get in touch with thinking beyond the limited viewpoint of what's possible is if you had all the time and money and energy to do or be or have whatever it is you would like to create for thriving life, think about that. And that will give you this perspective to start realizing what your heart really wants. Because this belief that there's limited resources or limited ability to have what you want, you have to get outside of that pretty far. So identify with no limitation what you would want, and then allow yourself to explore the possibility that it's actually there for you.
Completely. If you pay attention to the news, or if you pay attention to the stock market, if you pay attention to your coworkers, if you pay attention to everything around you, you're going to find lots of proof why there's not enough for everyone.
Right.
You must opt out of that experience.
Opt out.
And that's a choice.
It is a choice.
Because misery loves company and it will gather itself.
Bigger and bigger and bigger, as does abundance loves company as well. And you will have more and more and more. When you choose to look beyond the limit and see the abundance, you will begin to feel more abundance coming into your life. That's where gratitude comes into play, appreciation. And when you tap into those places, you begin going into the place of abundance instead of lack and scarcity. And you will realize that there is no level of difficulty to the universe.
No.
None. A penny, $1 million. It's all a desire.
You know, this just brought up a memory.
Good.
I've got to share.
Do it.
Jack and I believe 100% that we get to create our reality and the universe will deliver. 100%. I mean, it's just the way that we live. But when we started our business years ago, we had a lunch date with a woman that was an intuitive and a dress. Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So she also was helping people dress for success, that kind of thing. And she was very intuitive. So she sat down for lunch and we were talking about our new business and what we were creating. And she said, well, I don't know what's going on with the two of you in business, but you'll never make money from your business. You need to do something different. Do you remember?
Yeah, and I'm sure it was linking into some of our own fears about it.
Of course.
I remember that so well. And it took a couple of days.
Oh, I remember going home and sobbing.
Yeah. Oh, that was
that is also the time when I started to come out publicly with my own gifts of intuition and healing and all that delicious stuff. And I think about her now and I'm just like, you were so full of shit.
Yes. And what this means is you will have opportunities when you're moving into following your heart, choosing what it is you want for yourself. You absolutely will have opportunities to stand up and step beyond the limitation that someone else is maybe telling you. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. That won't ever work. Oh, I see this for you or that for you. It all comes down to what you want for you.
What if we would have believed her?
Oh my God. Here we are almost 8 years later running a thriving coaching business, doing podcasts. The Tiff and Jack show is moving along. We are hitting almost 1,300 downloads. I'm so glad
I didn't fall for that.
Oh, Lord.
And I could have. I could have. Because, people hire people as intuitives and readers and stuff like that. And you believe it. And just as a side note, as someone that does readings and all the woo-woo stuff out there, I never, ever, ever tell people what their future is going to be, even if I were to see something about it, which I often do. All you have to do is make a different decision one time And you can change the reality of what could be coming to you. So it's never wise as an intuitive to sit there and tell people their future.
No.
So if you're one of those intuitives that does that, you need to think again, because it will cause problems for people and set them up. And it's a very good thing that Jack and I were very strong in our own thought process. And we're like, bullshit.
Yeah.
We're not buying into that. And oh my gosh, here we are.
We had a little shaky moment or two.
It was
But
very
we
upsetting.
chose in 100%. You just have to keep choosing in 100%.
So where
to your
there
dreams.
is a desire, there's
a
supply.
way. Always.
Always.
Right down to us wanting to live in this house. Remember that it could feel like we live in the forest, but we're close to the city.
Absolutely.
Close to everything. A red flame maple right outside the kitchen window.
Yes.
All of that was manifested.
Every bit of
down
it.
to the T.
Oh.
And here we are.
And
it's been 5 years.
I love this place.
I know.
It is so
love
amazing.
It here.
Okay, number 3. The universe always says yes to your most dominant thought.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to really get into this because the universe always says yes. There is not a no answer for the universe. And I'm sure all of you will be like, well, that's not true, because there were times that I wanted this and this and I didn't get it. And that's a no. So here is what I mean when I say this. The universe will say yes to your most dominant thought. For instance, if you say to yourself, I really want a Tesla. And then you have the next thought that is like, but it's pretty expensive and I don't think I'll ever be able to afford it with the income that I have. The universe will answer whichever one of those thoughts is the strongest, the most dominant. So you're always going to have a thought that has the opposite in it. So either why I don't have it or why I want it. So you'll have those two thoughts, and whatever is the strongest is what the answer will be from the universe. The universe never, ever, 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 ever interferes with you making a decision about what you want. The universe is not going to say to you, oh, you don't want that, Tiffany. You don't want that, Jack. You want something better, and I'm going to give it to you. The universe actually is very patient and loving, and that energy is waiting for you to choose what you want, and it will give it to you, even if it's something that you don't want, because you believe that's all you're going to get.
Yep.
Do you want to add anything to this? I had so many thoughts of what I wanted, but I always had a secondary thought that came in so quickly and much stronger about why I couldn't or shouldn't have it.
Yeah. I think something that has assisted me greatly, that goes right in alignment with that the universe always says yes to your dominant thought, is I chose to believe something. I've picked up a few beliefs along the way that when I heard someone else say it, I thought, that's going to be one of mine.
Yeah.
And one that I say all the time, and I mean it, I get everything I want.
And you do.
I do.
You do.
I get everything I want. Sometimes it may take a little bit longer than I think, but I know I'll get it. Or I know I'll shift my perception before then and I'll want something new, but I'll get that new thing. Like, I'm not even afraid. I just know I'll always get what I want. And the other thought that I chose to believe that is now part of my psyche is that I expect to be surprised in the most beautiful and fantastic ways every single day.
Does that happen?
Every day. There is something that is a beautiful upliftment, a surprise, or something that just makes you feel really good. And like even today, here's an example. So today, as me getting everything that I want, I woke up feeling a little disturbed. As we go into Mercury retrograde, your dreams will be on hyperspeed. Absolutely. And I'm a dreamer already. I dream and dream and dream. Well, dreams get very clear and strong, and my dreams get wild as fuck during retrograde.
They do.
Wild, crazy dreams.
They really do.
So I wake up feeling a little disturbed. Sometimes I may not even remember what my dreams are. So today I got up early. I was going in to do my early morning shift at FedEx. I got to work, set my intention. This is how I want to feel. Came home, still felt a little out of sorts, but not too bad. Did a meditation, and during retrograde, all the time meditating is a powerful way to shift your thoughts and how you feel.
During retrograde, double it up.
Double it up. So I set my intention. I did my meditation, and I did some thought work around, what am I trying to say? Sigil work, where you just, anyway, here nor there. I did some thought work and I feel fantastic. I feel so much better. When I got done with my meditation and I got up, everything has shifted and I feel lighter and easier. That's the power of knowing you get what you want and that there's no limit to you being able to feel better.
Right.
Even if it's retrograde.
Right. Number 4, thoughts become things. This kind of moves from number 3. The universe always says yes to your most dominant thought, and then that thought turns into matter. So thoughts become things. When you think something, you attract that very thing into your life. Watch The Secret again. If you haven't watched it, I know we've already said that in this podcast, but I really want to stress it. I just loved the stories about what these people had thought about and then forgot about, thought about and forgot about, and then the universe brought it in and they were just so delightfully surprised. Just know that everything you think will come into your experience. Your thoughts are electromagnetic. This is not some woo-woo thing or some magic thing. This is quantum mechanics. This is science. And they have now proven that you actually control cellular structure by the thoughts that you are thinking.
Moving DNA.
You are moving the molecules, the nucleus, the protons, the neutrons, the atoms. You're controlling it by thought because everything's energy and energy is electromagnetic. So this is science, people. This is not just some magic woo-woo thing. And they're proving it more and more through science now. There are studies continually that are showing amazing results.
Right. Fantastic. Another show that you might want to catch is What the Bleep Do We Really Know? And it's all about thought creation and our thoughts and the scientific basis behind it. So if you haven't seen that, you'll want to catch it. I'll throw it in the links.
Very good show.
Very good information.
Love that one as well.
What the bleep do we really know?
Yes. Okay, number 5. Decisions create change. And we had already talked about change and decisions, but I want to get back to that.
It is such a big deal.
It is.
Your decision is everything. Your choice is it.
So when you figure out what you want, you have to decide to have it. Once you do that, understanding that there's a supply for everything that you want, the universe always says yes, and thoughts become things. That decision you make is going to create change in your life. And of course, we've talked about it already, that change stresses people out most of the time because the unconscious brain wants things to stay the same and familiar so we feel safe. Well, the truth is that we are always safe. Even when we have experiences that we don't like, we're still breathing, right? We're still alive. Right. We're still in creation mode.
Right. And those experiences that we don't like are contrast for what it is we want.
Right.
They are vital, critical, and so important to you having joy in what you want.
Now, babe, you had talked about people not wanting to make decisions because they're afraid of not getting what they want. There's also another thing that people really struggle with, and it is that they're afraid of making the wrong decision. And that really links into what you just said about those wrong decisions are like, oh, I don't want to make mistakes. But the truth is, even if you make what you would call a wrong decision or a mistake, it's bringing you into more of a clear place of understanding what you want and what you don't want, which is invaluable information. Because many times we don't know we don't want something until we experience it.
It's called experiential evidence.
Yes.
That's all it is. Life, every choice, everything you're doing is experiential evidence for you to see if you want more of it or less of it in your life. And then you make a decision to shift or change or bring something new in or have more of what it is you're experiencing.
Okay, so here's a really big decision that I made early in life that I could look back and say, oh, I wasted so much time. It was such a mistake. I shouldn't have ever done that. But the truth is, it wasn't a mistake because I learned so much. And I'm going to share what that decision was. And it was the person that I married, my first husband. Very kind and nice person. And I remember when I was 16, I made a list of all the qualities I wanted in a spouse. And some of those qualities, I didn't realize how those qualities would impact my life for something that I didn't really want. that didn't feel really in alignment or good to me until I had the experience. Now, I'm not here to bash ex-husbands or anything like that. I'm just saying that we do make sometimes very large decisions, and then 20 years later, we're like, oh my gosh, I don't think this is working. And then we make a different decision. And it doesn't mean that prior decision was a mistake, because let me tell you something. Being married to this person, he did a lot of really kind things for me. And I had the ability to learn patience and how to create the life I wanted, because I was living in such scarcity. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, I'm so glad for the wisdom. And on top of that, I have my 2 children that I gave birth to that are amazing people. And, you know, my ex-husband's a very nice person. He added a lot of kindness into my life. Doesn't mean we were a match, but it wasn't a mistake. And this is what I really want you to pay attention to. A lot of the decisions that you make that you're like, oh my God, why did I do that? That was so stupid. I wasted so much of my life. No. You must stop looking at it that, because you are learning invaluable information that will assist you so hugely in creating what you do want. That, and on top of that, the wisdom that we glean from those experiences that feel to be extraordinarily painful adds so much depth to who we are and into our creative power.
And when you're holding on to beating yourself bloody to a bloody pulp over your quote unquote mistakes, you are in resistance. You're not open to the flow of the universe bringing in more of what you want, because all you're focusing on is what you hate about yourself or where you feel like you ruined your life. It's only your thought that you ruined your life by that decision that's keeping you stuck in it. The minute you open your hands and let go of this self-beating that you're giving yourself over your mistakes, the flogging, the minute you open your hands, you're open to receive. When your hands are closed and you're in resistance, you cannot receive what it is you want that feels better than where you are right now. Let it go. Let it go. Stop beating yourself up and look beyond to something more. There's so much more for every one of us than just hating ourselves and loathing ourselves or the decisions that we've made. Look forward to what you want. Keep your eye on the horizon. Look up.
Excellent. There's one last thing that we want to talk about. When change comes in, there's one more step that we have to take.
You know, I just had a thought, huh?
Yeah.
Yes, there is. Well, I just know that we need to talk quickly about being 100% accountable for every part of what's going on in our experience.
Yeah, that's a hard one for people to swallow.
Yeah, it really is, but don't be afraid of it. And I don't know if that will, do you want to finish what you were saying?
No, we'll come back.
So just really quickly, alongside all of this that we're talking about, for you to have a life that is literally thriving and not just in survival mode, take radical responsibility for every part of your experience. Because Tiff, like you were saying, when you were in your marriage and how you viewed God, that you were waiting for God to decide for you what you wanted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. And then your husband at the time too.
And you know why I wanted God to make decisions for me is so that if I made a decision that was hard for me, then it was like, well, God wants me to have this experience so that I learn more and I become a better person, and then I'll really prove myself, and that's when I'll get the things that I want out of life. And it was really an escape for me of just
not be responsible
responsible.
Yeah.
And I blamed either God or the devil
or
for my life or
my
husband, my first husband at the time of what was happening. And the truth is I was opting out of making decisions. Well, that's not true. I was opting out of making conscious decisions about what I wanted, but I made the decision not to make decisions.
Right. And that leads right into being responsible.
Absolutely.
That's pure responsibility and accountability. What Tiff is saying is taking 100% accountability for her life and where she was. When you see different, you do better. When you see better, more, you do more. And so take full responsibility, radical accountability for every part of your life. And from there, you can create anything. It feels so scary to say, oh my God, how can I be responsible for this shitstorm? It's okay. Your thoughts have created it. Your thoughts can create something new, just as easy.
So many people will come in and talk about, okay, I believe this and this and this. And I'll say, okay, that is not true. And they're like, it is true. It's the experience that I had. And I said, well, it was true in the past, but it no longer needs to be what you continue to create.
Mhm.
So that's why we're talking about this right now, is so that you can create something different from this moment on.
Yes.
You can use these 5 steps to really help you start to thrive, because you've been surviving in the past and now it's time to shift that. And these 5 simple things will really assist you in doing that.
And even if you feel like you're thriving, you can take it to a whole bigger level.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This moment is your point of power right now. This moment is your point of power, which means you have a choice to make right now. What do you want to create for the rest of today? Take ownership of this day. How do you want to feel for the rest of the day? What do you want the day to look like? What kind of connection do you want to have with your people? Give it to the universe and know it's yours to enjoy. And then let go of the details of how it comes in. Take inspired thought. If the thought pops in, follow it. Just do it. Be accountable and responsible for where you are and create more abundance,
Yum,
more love, more deliciousness. Life literally is. We always say it. Life's meant to be devoured, right?
Yes.
And we say eat dessert first. We're just talking about enjoy every good thing that's yours to enjoy today and create even more.
yes.
Thank you, more, please. So when you get something good, that's a great little exercise.
Yeah, we've done that so
yeah,
often.
when something good and you
Thank
like,
you.
oh, feel it in your body. Just thank you, more, please, more, please. Or another great little exercise to expand your possibility of creation. This is from Louise Hay, who is a genius of how emotions connect and for your body and physical sickness or wellness. If you see something that you want, even health in another person or a gorgeous car or whatever, you can look at that and say, that's for me. And feel it.
I know, I love that one.
That's such a great
We're always
exercise.
driving the car. That's for me. We see stuff all the time. That's for us.
Yeah, it's fun. So use it. Use it. So did you cover your point?
No.
Okay.
So here is something, and we probably should have had 6 points today.
Well, maybe we should. We can just add one.
Well, that's what
it's a bonus point.
It's a bonus point. And really it's just understanding this so that it makes the thriving experience easier. And that thriving experience is what we're all looking for. And here's the last thing that you need to really understand about making a decision and change. Once change comes in, you have to receive it. And we talked about this a little bit last week. Sometimes you get something so close and then you refuse to receive it. We're talking about receiving it. So for instance, if something comes to your door, like for me, I love Amazon Prime. I love it. Okay. I love it.
That's such a great little metaphor for the law of attraction.
So I get on my phone and I can shop wherever I am at any time. And all I have to do is swipe my finger and I order something. Oh my God, it's just like magic.
And it shows up to your door.
It shows up at your door. In order for me to receive what's at the door, I have to open the door and bring what I have been gifted inside.
Rather than leaving it on the porch.
Yes, for someone else to get.
Right.
Okay, so that's really what we're talking about, is that there's something called a clearing process that will occur each time you do something new and change things. There has to be you releasing what's in your hands to receive the new. And that can feel a little scary. For instance, if you're like, I really want a relationship that is amazing, and you list out all these things that you truly desire, and then in a few months you find yourself divorced. What you may not realize is that clearing process is bringing you to exactly what you want. And we tell people this all the time. When things look like they are falling apart, it is an illusion, because actually what's happening is they're falling into place. So when you're making your manifestation, you may find that sometimes things go a little crazy from your own perspective right after you set your intention. But you have to realize that clearing process is coming in. So the gift is being delivered. In order for you to receive that delivery, those hands need to be emptied of the old so that you can receive the new. And it's awesome because the new is so great. And I'm just going to go back to my experience being married the first time. I had no intention of divorce or changing life, but I was getting sicker and sicker in every way. I just wasn't doing well.
It was severe.
And I knew that in order for me to have something new, I wanted to have a marriage that was thriving and made me feel happy and good. And I really wanted my first marriage to be that. And it just never could get there because it just wasn't a match. It just wasn't. No matter how much I wanted it to be, it wasn't. And now I am in the most thriving relationship I have ever seen, let alone me being in it and experiencing it. And I was so serious about creating a life of abundance and thriving and happiness and joy. And I'm living that life today. And I'm just going to create more of that, more and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, because that's how everything is. I mean, if you look up at the mountains and you look at pine trees, you're going to see pine trees go on for miles, and it just gets bigger and bigger and continues to grow, because that is the truth of energy. And the divine is that it just continues to grow.
Abundance.
So being totally content in what you have permanently, that is absolutely impossible. You
You'll
will always desire more. And that was my experience. I had to release a lot of things in my life to be able to receive what I'm living now. And that was the clearing process. And at the time, I didn't realize what was happening. And if someone would have said, oh, this is normal, that these things are falling, you're releasing these things out of your life, they're falling out of your life so that your life can actually fall into place. Oh my God, it would have been so much easier for me, because I wouldn't have been so afraid. But I was like, oh, everything's falling apart. And it wasn't. And it wasn't. It was falling into place.
And we're here to be the voice reminding you that when things feel to be falling apart, it's okay. What you want is coming together. Don't be afraid.
When things look to be falling apart, just know they're actually falling into place.
And if that's not the best news you've ever heard.
Oh, that is the best news today, I tell you.
And it is the truth. We're witnesses of it. And that is our show.
Yes.
We've covered the 5 points plus 1 6 bonus point. And as you've listened to us, we ask you to share us. If something we say inspires you or makes you laugh or lightens your day, please share us with your friends. It would be such an honor for us to be with them and where they go to. You can listen to us anywhere, on any device, anytime. Take us in your ear wherever you go. And let us be a voice of hope and possibility, because that's our intention for you. If you've had any thought of wanting to coach with us, we would be honored. The way to do it, we have a Coach With Us link right here in the show notes. We do our private coaching either here in our office in Salt Lake City or over Skype. We also will be launching an amazing group coaching program, which you can check out on our website. Our website, if you can't guess, is tiffandjack.com. And
imagine
everywhere
that.
We go, if you want to find us, just type in Tiff and Jack, either and or ampersand. But our website is tiffandjack.com. And we'll have our group coaching information on there. Our April special, if you're interested in a healing, this is a great opportunity, 157 for April 2017. That will be the healing. We have limited spots. Be sure and reach out today. We'll have a link for you to jump on that special. And more than anything, ask your questions. We love your feedback. Thank you for letting us know how we are making a difference in your life, because that's our fuel to keep going. And it gives us such joy to be here with you. And it almost makes me feel like crying. Can you feel it?
I was like, are you
I've got
cry?
tears in my throat. It is such an honor to know that what we say is making a difference in your life. That's all we want. And keep listening. If you haven't subscribed, do it. And we'll be back. And remember,
eat dessert first,
because life is meant to be devoured.